The glass shattered against the hardwood floor. A jagged scream of crystal that sliced through the laughter and clinking champagne flutes. I froze, my hand still outstretched. The wine I'd been pouring now a crimson stain spreading across the rug. My husband, David, stood in the doorway, his face a mask of pale fury. Eyes locked on me and our neighbor, Ethan, whose arm had brushed mine a moment too long. The party's hum faltered. Heads turning, whispers curling like smoke. My heart thudded, heavy and erratic, as if it knew something I didn't. I'd always thought David's jealousy was a quirk, a flicker of insecurity I could soothe with a smile. But tonight, his gaze held something darker, something that made my skin prickle with unease. "Clara," he said, his voice low, a blade wrapped in velvet. "We need to talk. Now." Ethan stepped back, his easy grin fading, and I felt the room tilt, the air thick with unspoken accusations. I laughed, a brittle sound, and waved it off. "It's just a party, David. Relax." But his eyes didn't waver, and the weight of them followed me as I moved through the crowd, my pulse a drumbeat of dread. The night had started innocently enough. Our annual neighborhood bash, string lights twinkling above the backyard, the scent of grilled steak and jasmine heavy in the summer air. I'd worn my favorite dress, emerald green, the one David said made my eyes glow. Ethan, newly divorced and charmingly disheveled, had arrived with a bottle of Merlot and a story about his latest woodworking project. We'd talked for hours, leaning close over the patio table, his laughter warm against the cool night. It was harmless, I told myself. Just flirting. A spark to feel alive again after months of David's late nights at the office, his clipped words, his distracted kisses. But David noticed. He always noticed. I caught him watching us from across the lawn, his jaw tight, fingers strangling the neck of his beer bottle. I should have gone to him then, should have slipped my hand into his and pulled him into the dance of conversation. Instead, I leaned closer to Ethan, let my laugh linger, let my fingers graze his when I passed him the wine. It felt good to be seen, to be wanted, even if just for a moment. I didn't think it meant anything. I didn't think it would cost me everything. By midnight, the guests had trickled out, leaving a wreckage of empty cups and half-eaten desserts. Ethan lingered, offering to help clean up, his smile a quiet invitation. I said yes, ignoring the warning in my gut. The way David's silence filled the house like a gathering storm. We stacked plates in the kitchen, our shoulders brushing, the air charged with something I couldn't name. "You're different tonight," Ethan said softly, his eyes searching mine. "Happier." I opened my mouth to respond, but David's voice cut through, sharp and cold. "Clara, he's leaving. Now." Ethan left without a word, his footsteps fading into the night. David didn't speak as we cleaned in silence, the clink of dishes deafening in the quiet. I wanted to explain, to say it was nothing, but the words stuck in my throat, heavy with guilt I didn't fully understand. When we finally crawled into bed, the space between us was a chasm, his back a wall of ice. I lay awake, replaying every glance, every laugh, wondering when harmless had turned dangerous. The next morning I woke to an empty bed. David's side was cold, the sheets untouched. My stomach twisted as I padded downstairs, the house too still, the air thick with the scent of last night's wine. His car was gone. On the kitchen counter, a note in his precise handwriting. "I know what I saw. I'm done." My breath caught, a sob clawing up my throat. I called his phone again and again, each unanswered ring a hammer to my heart. I texted Ethan, desperate for clarity, but his reply was a single line. "I'm sorry, Clara. I shouldn't have crossed that line." What line? My mind spiraled, replaying every moment. The brush of his hand, the warmth of his smile, had I misread it? Had I wanted more than I admitted? I sank to the floor, the tile cold against my skin, and tried to piece together the truth. David's jealousy had always been a shadow, but this felt different. This felt final. I called my sister, my voice trembling as I spilled the story, the words tumbling out like broken glass. "He's overreacting," she said, but her tone was uncertain, and I heard the question she didn't ask. "What did you do?" Hours bled into days. David didn't come home. His office said he'd taken leave, his phone still a void. I wandered the house, touching his things, his favorite mug, his worn leather jacket, as if they could anchor me. The neighbors whispered, their glances sharp with judgment. Ethan avoided me, his blinds drawn tight. I started noticing things I'd missed. David's late nights weren't just work, were they? The faint scent of perfume on his coat, the locked drawer in his desk. My heartbreak twisted into suspicion, then rage. Had he been the one hiding something all along? On the third day I found the letter. Tucked inside his desk in an envelope marked with my name, the words were a gut punch. I saw you with him, Clara. But you didn't see me. I've been trying to fix us to be enough, but I can't anymore. I'm sorry for what I did. You'll understand soon. My hand shook as I read it again, the words blurring through tears. What he did. The room spun, memories flashing. His late nights, his secrecy, the way he'd pull away when I reached for him. I tore through his desk, finding bank statements, a second phone, text to a number I didn't know. Meet me tonight. She won't suspect. The truth hit like a freight train. David hadn't just left me. He'd been leaving me for months, maybe years. The party, my flirting, it was just the excuse he needed. I sank to the floor, the letter crumpling in my fist, my chest heaving with sobs. But beneath the grief, a spark of fury ignited. He thought he could paint me as the villain, walk away clean. I grabbed my phone, my fingers trembling as I typed a message to Ethan. Meet me. We need to talk. When Ethan arrived, his face was pale, his eyes haunted. Clara, I didn't mean, he started, but I cut him off, shoving the letter at him. Did you know? I demanded, my voice raw. He read it, his shoulders sagging. I suspected, he admitted. I saw him with someone last month at a bar. I didn't want to believe it. My knees buckled and he caught me, his hands steady but trembling. Why didn't you tell me? I whispered. He looked away, guilt etched into every line of his face. Because I wanted you to choose me, not because he broke you. The room felt too small, the air too thin. I pushed him away, my mind a storm of betrayal, David's, Ethan's, my own. I'd flirted to feel alive, but I'd lit the match that burned my world down. Hours later I stood in the empty house, my bags packed, the keys on the counter. David could have it all, the house, the lies, the life we'd built on sand. As I stepped into the night, the streetlights blurred through my tears, but my heart pounded with a strange, fierce clarity. I was homeless, yes, but I was free. And somewhere deep inside I knew I'd find a way to rebuild.